Okay, this video is about attention deficit disorder. And what I'm trying to do here is sort of teach you how to think, because in my experience, patients about 99% of the time do the wrong thing. They don't know any better and they're a bunch of chumps. So I want to show you this one guy here. His name is Thomas Szasz. He was a psychiatrist, most famous back in the 1960s. He wrote a book here called The Myth of Mental Illness. It's a very good book. And here's what he says: clear thinking requires courage rather than intelligence. And he said psychiatric medicine for a child is not a medication, it's a poison. Okay? And this is a guy who's trying to help you. He took a lot of flack for being a contrarian in his field. Okay? He wrote several other good books that are also quite good, The Myth of Psychotherapy and some other ones. He's got a lot of good quotes. I made a previous lecture all about him. All right, I want you to see this doctor here. His name is Dr. Bragan, and he's the best psychiatrist to ever live. He's a Harvard-trained psychiatrist, and just here's a picture of him. Here's his best book, Brain Disabling Treatments in Psychiatry, just to get a sense of some of the things that he says. He never prescribes a psychiatric drug. He says they're all bad. Only time he'll even give a psychiatric drug if he's weaning a person off of medication. And I'm going to talk about attention deficit. I'm going to talk about what's happening to these kids, but you need to have a little bit of background. He said all psychiatric drugs cause brain damage. They all cause a chemical lobotomy. Electroshock therapy, electroconvulsive therapy is an electric lobotomy. Lithium is a severe brain poison. Antipsychotics kill brain cells. Okay, he goes on and on about it. And he shows them all. Benzodiazepines are like local anesthetics. Memory problems can occur. Withdrawal can be difficult. They're all bad. And listen to what he says too. The most important thing is that the psychiatric doctor has a loving attitude towards the patient. I'm going to tell you, it comes all down to this, because a lot of people have been tricked into thinking, oh, you don't need God, all you need is science. What you don't understand is without God, there is no science. All you get is lying and advertising, okay? The goal of a doctor, he should be a healer, not a drug dealer, okay? And, they make medical school so expensive, so then the doctors have hundreds of thousands of dollars of loans, and they have to pay off those loans, and that's one more thing that makes them scared to ever go against the standard, because they got to pay off those loans. So everything revolves around money. And until it revolves around a God-based worldview, Bible-based worldview, it's never going to get any better. That's why I always laugh when people say, oh, this technology is going to improve things. Yeah, right. I'm as high-tech as it gets, and I can tell you technology doesn't do much. All right, now here's what happens when a person goes to a psychiatric office. They got their choice of 3 types of lobotomy. The chemical lobotomy is the most common one, from antidepressants, benzos, antipsychotics, and stimulants. Surgical lobotomy is done as a sort of a last resort. Intermediate therapy is electrical lobotomy. Best option, run for your life, okay? Now here is a package of Ritalin. This is methylphenidate. These are amphetamine stimulants given to children for so-called attention deficit. And what is attention deficit? The definition of attention deficit is basically the kid annoys the teacher, They're hyperactive, fidgeting in their seat. There's a lot of things you could do before you prescribe amphetamines. It's against the law to sell amphetamines on a street corner, and you're giving it to children. And I'm telling you, this is coming from Harvard. This is coming from Harvard. That's what I meant by Harvard stinks. And it will never be any good until it goes back to being in large part a religious school. And people should have to take religious oaths in order to practice medicine. Because, the Hippocratic Oath is ignored. Nobody even knows what it is, yet alone pays attention to it. They're poisoning children with amphetamines. I mean, if somebody asked you on the street, would you poison a kid for $10, for $100, for $1,000? Most of you, almost all of you, would say, no, I wouldn't do that. But these doctors do it all day long, every day. And they just hide behind this fake standard of care, which they know is bogus, because that's how they make their money. Okay? So, I mean, really look at this. Giving amphetamines to children. Drug dealers to children. Harvard has become drug dealers to children. That's what you get when you have atheism in science. You get this evil type of nonsense. And they lie to all the parents. And here's this guy. His name's Joseph Biederman. He is called the father of pediatric psychopharmacology. Not only are they giving attention deficit kids amphetamines, he pioneered that. A lot of these kids, he says, have bipolar disorders, and they should be receiving medicines for that, like risperidol. Oh, and they might have other disorders. Maybe they need antipsychotics. And he received over $1.6 million in consulting fees from drug maker companies, plus a whole bunch of other stuff. And here he is, a big, famous Harvard doctor. He poisons children and sells drugs to children, okay? This guy's an evil jerk, okay? And you see, if you allow atheism to control the medical system, that is what you will get. Here's a good guy. This is Robert Whitaker. He wrote, a really good book about all these psychiatric drugs, what terrible side effects they have, and how they don't work at all, how the single neurotransmitter theory of mental illness is all nonsense. It was just made up to sell drugs. It's never been shown at all in the laboratory. The more drugs kids get for attention deficit and the longer they're on them, the worse the outcome. There is no proof that attention deficit has a real disorder. There's no proof that it even exists. The American Psychiatric Association admitted in 1994 that Ritalin doesn't even work. The whole thing is a big joke. It's all a big joke. Okay? And this guy Biederman, the psychiatrist at Harvard, he received money from 24 different drug companies. So he's just a big drug dealer. He's just a popularizer to get all the chumps. Well, the Harvard doctor recommends that we give amphetamines to children. Okay, we'll do it. It's insane. Why not give them heroin? It's insane. So I'm just letting you know where this is coming from, and this is why you should not trust the system. It is not designed to help you. It is designed to make money. And look at all these drugs that are mitochondrial inhibitors. You need your mitochondria for everything. The statins are mitochondrial inhibitors. The cholesterol drugs, the SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, are mitochondrial inhibitors. Trazodone, another antidepressant, mitochondrial inhibitor. Other SSRIs like Prozac and whatnot, those are mitochondrial inhibitors. The stuff they put in your drinking water, F-, mitochondrial inhibitor. The stuff they spray on non-organic soy, GP, phosphate, mitochondrial inhibitor. The stuff they spray on non-organic corn, zine, mitochondrial inhibitor. So this is your whole body's energy. Your brain depends entirely on these mitochondria, and they're inhibiting them all over the place. Metformin, the most common diabetes drug, mitochondrial inhibitor. Tylenol, mitochondrial inhibitor. Omega-6 cooking oils, they undergo lipid peroxidation to make toxic aldehydes like hydroxynonenal, HNE, mitochondrial inhibitor. Lead, which is often found as a heavy metal in powdered foods, in turmeric powder, in protein powders, mitochondrial inhibitor. Non-stick cookware with PFOAs, mitochondrial inhibitor. There's a whole bunch of them. All the antifungals, mold inhibitors, mitochondrial inhibitors. Okay? There's tons of them. The common antibiotics, aminoglycosides, fluoroquinolones, beta-lactams, mitochondrial inhibitors. Alcohol, mitochondrial inhibitor. All right, well, I just show you this because this is what's happening. People are having their mitochondria inhibited by 5, 10, 15 things, and they're going to have a hard time functioning at a high level with all this stuff going on. But the most important thing is to realize the system's not there to help you. And when somebody tries to help you, like here's this guy, Peter Gotsky. This guy's a genius. He worked at the Cochrane Collaboration. He's the best medical statistician researcher in the world. And he basically said, we should not use psychiatric drugs at all. We'd be better off if there was no such thing as psychiatric drugs. They do far more harm than good. He wrote an entire book, about how awful psychiatry is and how many people are injured by it. So I just tell you this because so the next time somebody tries to tell you one of your family members needs to take these drugs, you at least have a clue of what's going on. Here's another book that Gotsky wrote about how to withdraw from these drugs. So I'm just trying to give you a chance. You can't fix stupid. In my experience, most people are stupid. Oh, well, the psychiatrist recommends it, as if the psychiatrist knows. No, the psychiatrist's job is to sell drugs. His job's not to help you. He doesn't get paid for helping you. Doctors don't get paid for helping patients. Whether patients live or die is irrelevant. What matters is that they follow the standard of care, they get paid because they meet the criteria for the billing code as designated by the insurance company. That's what matters. And there's a bean counter in every hospital and every clinic that's keeping track of how much money that doctor's making. And if that doctor's not making enough money as determined by the standard of, for their field in the community, they're fired. So they have to do it. They don't have a choice. So anyways, that's a little reality check on attention deficit disorder.